Hi, I'm Johnny Smith, host of the Inquisitive Minds podcast. Join me while we interview all manner of interesting people from all walks of life. Some conspiracy, some cryptozoology, and just some things that are just plain interesting. Every week I'll have someone with me who is an expert in their specific field.
This is the Inquisitive Minds podcast.
Hey, welcome to the Inquisitive Minds podcast, and thank you for tuning in. Today, I'm relishing in the fact that our guest has joined us today. It's going to be a great episode, so pay attention. You don't want to have to catch up. And if you miss this one, you're going to be in quite a pickle. I don't want to sound too cheesy, but just call me Hamburger John, because my guest today is Hot Dog Lou. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Sarah Lou to the program.
Hi. Hey.
How you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me.
So we are going to be discussing tarot cards today.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell people a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Well, I moved here a couple years ago. I met everybody in the comedy community.
Where are you from originally?
I moved here from Portland, Oregon, and before that, I'm from Anaheim, California.
Oh.
Yeah.
How long ago did you move here?
I got here August 2018.
What brought you here?
I had always lived on the West Coast and wanted to try something different. I have a friend that's from here. Her family owns a bar in Regent Square, and so I came out here to visit her family and kind of check the city out. And then I was here at the end of 2017, and I met Shannon Norman, and that's how I kind of met everybody else in comedy.
Yeah, that's how I met you. I think you started doing the Froggies open mic.
Yeah, I had an open mic for a few months last summer. That was a fun little endeavor, but if you don't do comedy and you're just getting paid to just watch the same comics that you see every single week, after the summer, I was like, okay, that was fun. That was good.
In your defense, I will say, even if you do comedy, the mics don't always last.
Yeah.
I've had quite a few that have crashed and failed.
I mean, I had it worked out pretty well to where, like, I was getting paid a decent amount weekly to do it, and then I was paying my host out, like, part of what I was getting paid, and I just had to sit around and drink and watch my friends do comedy. So it wasn't the worst thing.
I had a mic, and on 9/11, one of the comics went up, and I won't say who, good friend of mine, and he did 5 minutes on 9/11. And it was funny, but I definitely understand how some people didn't want to hear it. And I got an email later that night that the mic was no longer happening.
Oh, no.
They didn't specifically say that, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
You got canceled for 9/11.
Yeah, so what can you tell me about tarot cards?
I'm not a religious person. I'm pretty science-based, which is why a lot of people find it interesting that I do.
Now, when you say not religious, agnostic?
I guess.
Atheist?
No, I lean towards being agnostic. Like, I guess there might be something there. I don't really know.
Okay.
I guess I'm spiritual in the way that, like, I believe that there's, like, a bunch of energy in the universe and we kind of get back what we put in.
Okay, that's a start.
And tarot cards they tie into that a lot because, I mean, you're not supposed to take everything quite so literally with the tarot cards as some people think. They're like, if this says death, I'm gonna die. I'm like, no.
That was actually
no.
That was actually one of the questions I was going to ask you. Was do you ever read anything that scares you?
Not really, because it's all meant to be taken as like guidance, not necessarily like this is the cold hard facts. You know, like it and. Tarot cards have to do a lot with intuition and you and how you see it as it's laid out. And so that's why this new deck I'm still getting used to. I gave my other deck away, which is what you're supposed to do. Not supposed to, but it's looked on to be like a good thing because you're not really supposed to buy your decks unless it's something that really speaks to you.
It sounds like more like old mysticism rituals, like, oh, it has to be passed down.
Yeah, which is why it's not really looked down on as much anymore to buy your deck because it's like the old ways.
I was going to say, if you're not supposed to buy your deck, it's supposed to be passed down. Who's manufacturing all of it?
Right? That's what I'm saying.
But what how old were you when you got into it? How did you discover tarot cards?
I was down in Venice Beach when I was like 16 with friends, just like drunk on the boardwalk, and went and got my tarot cards read by this lady who I really admired her because she didn't try and like basically she just did tarot cards like out of her front yard in Venice Beach, and like the first time she did, she was just like smoking a cigarette and like yelling at her kids in the house. Like,
sounds like my people.
yeah, she wasn't like from what I can see, she wasn't making it all like, she didn't make it seem so campy. She was just like, oh, here, this is what this says. And I'm like, all right, cool. So she was the first person that I was like, oh, you don't have to have a crystal ball and like a weird head wrap and pretend like you know everything. She was just like, well, based on this, I was like, oh, okay, cool.
So you're 16, you get them read. How do we get from there to the next point? What happens after you get them read? How long before you actually decide to look into it or decide to pick up your own deck?
I don't think it was until like way later on, living in Portland. I mean, Portland is a very progressive city. There's a lot of woo-woo shit there. There's a lot of stores.
I'm sorry, I can't. I would be remiss if I just skipped past a lot of woo-woo shit.
Yeah.
I need to know a little bit more in depth on what woo-woo shit is.
Woo-woo shit's just like witchy things like crystals and metaphysical shops and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, so like paranormal-ish type things.
I mean, the kind of things that like tarot cards are kind of tied into, like this thing that's not necessarily based in science, but more in intuition and
woo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like woo woo fam, but like
woo,
but like woo woo shit.
Okay, there was way too many woots for this whole podcast. I'm used up for the month. All right, so I'm sorry to interrupt you. A lot of woo woo shit.
Yeah.
You're in Portland, progressive city.
I had a few friends that they had a tarot card reader that they really liked to go to, and I was just kind of feeling like I was gonna go give it another try because I hadn't really been in years, and
You just get a reading, another try.
yeah.
Okay.
There's a place here that I go to get a reading like once or twice a year.
Oh, where's that?
I can't remember the name of the neighborhood. It's like right past Bakery Square, and you would go like over to the left, and it's kind of bordering Oakland.
I know there's a lady in Southside, I guess.
I've been to that place
shop.
too.
I got a reading from her at the, you might not be aware of this, Station Scare. Mm-hmm. It was the like Halloween Haunted House Festival down in Station Square every year. And she was down there reading tarot cards. And that's my only reading, but it was from that lady.
There's a shop called Juju, Juju, that like that's where I originally saw this deck. I didn't buy this deck there. By the time I wanted to buy it like 6 months after I saw it.
Someone had already passed it down.
They had already bought it, yeah. So I found it online and I bought it. Oh no, I bought it. But I go into that shop. There's all kinds of stuff like sage to burn and books for like learning and crystals and tarot cards and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get your second reading.
Yeah.
By the way, are you finding these readings to be accurate or applying to you? Or at this point, are they just fascinating?
I feel like it's all subjective. So anything somebody tells you, you can kind of figure out how that ties into your own life. Which is kind of like I was saying that they're not like cold hard facts, but I feel like a lot of times they make you look at aspects of your life that you might not have.
So is it anything like a horoscope almost? Anything to do with astrological signs or
No, it's not tied into astrological signs or anything. No. It's so the original decks, there's one deck that is like an original deck, and then they started just coming out with all different types, but they're all based on the original. It's called the Rider Strong deck.
Okay.
And if that's the one that like if you go if you Google,
That's like the lineage.
it's the one
It's like the strain lineage.
it's the one that you'll see the most of, and most
Okay.
interpretations are based on that one.
Now, what type of deck do you have?
This is called the Luminous Void deck.
That's promising.
It's interesting because it's rounded out. Most decks aren't. The person who did it, all of the graphics on it are all watercolor paintings.
Okay.
So they're all kind of her take on the original deck with her art on them.
Well, that's nice. I seem to be jumping back and forth, and I don't mean to do that, but
That's okay.
interesting tangents happen. So you get your second reading.
Yeah, and I mean, I was getting ready to, I think I was going to be turning 28, and I was just going to get one before my birthday and just kind of see what the card said for the following year. And I mean, I've had a few, I've probably had 3 or 4 readings since then, but now that I have my own deck, I kind of try and do it myself, but sometimes it's nice to go have somebody, usually people who do tarot card readings that you pay have been doing it for a long time. I was telling you, I'm not an expert in tarot cards by any means, and I have my own personal relationship with the deck. I'll choose a card maybe once or twice a month to kind of give me a little clarity in whatever I might be seeking.
Now, how does do you talk to your family about these?
My family consists of about 3 people, and I don't talk to any of them.
Okay, so that answers the question on how they responded to.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for when you actually made the leap and said, okay, I want to buy a deck, and how you learned to read, or if someone taught you, or if there was.
I mean, it's a pretty reading is a pretty standard. It's standardized mostly. There's different spreads for different things for what you're looking for, and then there's also, like I said, a lot of people to start, because I do not have all of these cards memorized. I have to always look it up because I don't do it enough to have it memorized. Like I said, I lean to I go for my deck when I'm when I need something for the most part, or just want a different perspective on something. But I don't use it enough to not have to look things up.
There's nothing wrong with that, though.
Yeah.
We're all still growing and learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, have you given reads to many people?
I have probably done 10 to 15 readings for people. I brought these over to my friend's house on Friday to just do quick 3-card spreads for a couple people because I told them I was going to be on a podcast talking about my deck that I haven't even used on anybody yet because I just got it last month. So I did a couple readings on Friday just to kind of, like I said, break this deck in.
Okay. And now, is there anything else you're interested or performed as far as something occult or paranormal? Because a lot of times I'll find people who have interest in one thing. They're not just lone wolves when it comes to that. There's either some crystals involved.
I mean, I have an altar at home that, that I have an obsession with plants, and it's only gotten worse through quarantine. But
yes,
but
I've enjoyed watching that.
The progression, and I'm about to move into a giant house, and it's going to be a jungle.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
I can only imagine. I had another intro for you that had mentioned the plants overtaking the place, and I was going to say one of the pioneers of Bolo Friday.
Yeah, I am the pioneer of Bolo Friday, right here in the flesh.
We're making history here. We're making history, folks.
Yeah, I have a lot of interest. Tarot cards, bolo ties, plants.
You got to keep it interesting. Life's too busy to be boring.
Yeah. Like I said, I have an altar that I do have some crystals on it, and I have a bunch of my plants on it, and I bought this box that was basically almost just it's like a little witch kit. It has a few different it has lavender in it, and it has salt in it, and it has sage, and it has a bell for just quicker
service.
Yes, for quicker service.
I'm here. Nobody's at the front desk. The fuck is going on?
But I bought it at this thing called the Bitchcraft Festival that happens every year.
See, that sounds so welcoming.
Yeah, but it's just one of the convention center, like, kind of crafty, like, it's like Crafty Wonderland, but it's around Halloween time.
Oh,
That's
so
it.
It's like housewives that don't do anything.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, no, we're witches. Check me out.
Yeah, but they had all kinds of cool shit.
I used to do
And I went in
Tupperware.
there after a full day of day drinking mimosas.
I don't know if I believe it.
With Andrew, Hillary, and our other friend.
I
and-
don't know if I believe it.
And within like 10 minutes, I think I spent like $200 on bullshit.
That happens. You cannot go to these conventions. I can't even go to a flea market intoxicated, or else I'm buying stupid shit.
Yeah, all of a sudden, like, we all just kind of split. Andrew was just kind of walking around like, I'm here with these stupid bitches buying all these things, and we just kept running back to be like, look what I bought, look what I bought. And so in this thing, I bought this box that had all of these like things in it already, and that sits on my altar too.
Now, maybe this is me because I'm ignorant to some of the process, but does a box like that come with instructions?
It does not.
So you're just like, here's some witchy shit, figure it out, or you're gonna fuck some shit up.
Well, no, because there's not like, it's not like a bunch of, there's not shit to like summon a demon in there.
No, but you could get like warts.
What?
You could do something and be
my
like,
God.
oh, now I got warts on my foot.
No.
Like, see, I can think more practical. I understand you're not necessarily going to summon a demon, but you could be like casting spells to have somebody stub their toe, and I don't know about you, but that's going to fuck my night up.
Yeah. I mean, those are the only kind of spells that I send at people I don't like.
Stubbitus toes.
Yeah, that's it. That's my big one.
Now, is there a community like with childish?
Well, pentacle is like
What is a
pentagram.
pentacle? Oh, it's like a pentagram?
Yeah, look, see?
Well, then what makes it a pentacle?
It's a physical like thing that has a pentagram on it.
I think of an octopus with a wand down there just
A
saying spells with all goddamn 8 legs. It's my pentacles.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's one of the tarot card mascots.
That's probably going to be my fate. John,
yeah.
you're an octopus in the next life.
So yeah, there's cups, there's swords, there's pentacles, or like I said in this deck, they're called discs.
Well, I guess before I start trying to dissect it and ask what each individual card means,
there's way too many.
If
for me
you
to do
would
that
like
for you.
to give it a go.
You want a reading, Johnny?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
well,
want a reading.
We got to shuffle the cards
I'm
first.
always open. I'm always fascinated.
All right.
And I'm sure I will have questions for you as we go through this.
Well, I'll just do like a 3-card quick spread.
We're doing a
for you.
3-card Monty.
The 3-card spread is just past, present, future,
Past,
easy.
present, future.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Well,
See
I
what
know
it
my
says.
past.
Yeah.
It's a little rough. A little rough around the edges.
Let's see what the cards say.
The present, I am doing better than I deserve to ever be doing right now.
All right, you have to cut the deck into 3 stacks.
All right, give me 1 second. For those of you not watching, we just cut the deck into
We
3
just
sections.
Cut the deck. Yep. Here we go. These are the cards. All right. So like I said, I have to pull my phone out to do your reading because I'm still learning, you know? When you asked me to be on this, I was like, oh. Like, yeah, it's a thing I do, but I'm not like...
Is it not interesting?
It is interesting, yeah.
You have more to teach about this than I do.
All right, your past.
When someone says to me, what do you know about tarot cards? I'm like, yo, you got to ask Sarah Luke.
Oh, your present is the devil.
That makes sense.
All right. So, we got Ace of Cups for your past.
Ace of Cups?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Ace of Cups.
Can you hold that up so we can see it?
Yes.
Ace of Cups.
Ace of Cups.
That sounds like one of those Facebook games you play, the date of your birth, the month. What's your quarantine name? I'm the Ace of Cups.
The Ace of Cups. Okay, here. So, the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups, getting the Ace of Cups upright shows it's time to let go of loose or whatever emotional baggage you have and start living your life to the fullest. Like with the other aces, there's a new beginning that is indicated here, a chance to start fresh. It might come in the form of opening yourself up to the possibilities of new relationships, romantic or otherwise, that have the ability to make you emotionally fulfilled. The release indicated by this card may either be spiritual or emotional, depending on what you're going through. The Ace of Cups may come to a reading after a long period of being lonely or enduring something that deeply hurt you emotionally, and its appearance may be there to herald the turning of a new leaf.
Well, that was a mouthful.
Yeah, that's your past.
Yeah, my past got some, we're just going to go dark here for a minute, folks.
Yeah.
The love of your life dies in your arms.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get pretty shitty.
Yeah.
I feel like I've recovered fairly well.
Yeah, so this is probably speaking about you recovering from that.
Oh, well, that sounds positive then. We'll take it.
All right, the devil.
Can you hold that one out?
Yes.
Because the devil looks like he's got a big head on that card.
It's not his head. He just has like a light behind his head or something. Well, he's all, like I said, all of these are like her watercolor interpretations and stuff. So.
Okay. Well, and that's for my present.
Yeah.
Okay. Past, present, future.
Mm-hmm. So let's see here.
If you don't change your ways, John, this is your future. Gravestone. I'm like, look, I promise you, buddy, no matter what I do, I'm going to die at some point. I feel like she's reading it and she just made a head movement. Did we just get into some shit here?
All right. Let's see here. Your present. Getting the devil card in your reading shows that you have feelings of entrapment, emptiness, and lack of fulfillment in your life. It might also mean that you are a slave to materialism and opulence, and no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to shake off the feeling of wanting to indulge. You might be aware of this kind of lifestyle as leading you down the rabbit hole, but you have that feeling of not having any form of control over your actions or urges. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Because anyone that knows me would not call my life opulent.
Yeah.
By any means. And I feel like, and maybe this is me blowing my own head up, I feel like I have a lot of self-control.
That's good.
I don't do anything that's out of line, really.
I wouldn't have seen that card for you currently.
I'm a quite in the pocket guy. I'm trying to grow some stuff. I'm starting this podcast.
I'm gonna need you to stop. Because clearly the podcast is just way too much, and you're going to have to stop.
Yeah, I can't control my urges. You know what? I had an urge to interview people, and maybe this is what's overtaken me.
Yeah, that's it.
That's okay. We'll go with it. I don't know. You know what? I got my green card the other day, and I have spent more money than I would like to admit.
Okay.
So maybe that's the minor urge we can take out of here.
So the Hierophant is your future.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
The Hierophant.
The Hierophant.
Yeah.
Do you have what a translation is for the Hierophant?
It's like a teacher.
Okay. My sister's a teacher.
So the Hierophant, to see the Hierophant in a reading is to embrace the conventional, for it suggests that you have a certain desire to actually follow a process which has been well established. It also suggests that you want to stay within certain conventional bounds of what would be considered an orthodox approach. So instead of being innovative, you will be adapting to certain beliefs and systems which are already put in place. The Hierophant card suggests it's better for you to follow social structures which are established and have their own traditions. You might be involved in certain ceremonies, rituals, or other religious trappings, for instance. When it comes to tarot readings, this particular card is most commonly representative of institutions as well as their core values. This is a sign that shows that you need to conform to the already existing set of rules and situations that are fixed already.
Now, I'm going to ask you
Those
to
are very
translate.
conflicting.
I'm going to ask you to translate that a little bit for me.
It's kind of, we were just talking about how the devil card doesn't that doesn't sound like you at all. But so when I should have had you think of something before I pulled this, because these kind of have meanings to different things. Like if you're talking about the Hierophant in terms of there's a career meaning, there's a finance meaning, there's a meaning when it comes to questions about love. So I just kind of pulled a general card without having you actually have any question. So
okay, that makes sense. That makes a little bit more sense.
So I mean, like the Hierophant, like in terms of like work, like the Hierophant, you'll find success from working with others right now. You can sometimes mean also choosing to not rock the boat and staying on the tired and true path with so many variables when it comes to work. It may be better to stay safe right now. This card can also signal that group cohesion rather than individuality can be more important in the moment. Sometimes the Hierophant can also signify a more senior mentor that can help be a helpful aid in progressing through your career. The card is also representative of education, meaning that a time of learning, whether through school or vocational training, can be helpful for you.
Well, you have heard it here first that the tarot cards have told me not to quit my day job to pursue stand-up comedy.
Yeah, they did.
You better stay in your fucking lane, fat boy. Wow.
That's what they said.
See,
don't quit your day job.
Here's my question, and it's kind of unrelated. But I've been thinking about getting some tattoo work done. Mm-hmm. And I've been contemplating stopping home the last 4 days, or stopping at the establishment the last 4 days. What can a tarot card tell me about that? If that's my question, if you can pull one card and...
Well, didn't the devil just tell you to stop being so fucking lavish? Come on.
Yeah. You know, that's interesting because I did have filet mignon for breakfast. Mm-hmm. First time I've had it, though, if that means anything. Yeah. When I say I grew up poor, whew.
I had leftover barbecue from Showcase for breakfast.
Is Showcase a restaurant?
Showcase is a black-owned business here in Pittsburgh, and it's an amazing barbecue spot in Homewood, and their food is amazing. So I had that for breakfast. I had ribs in my underwear at 8 a.m.
No, I actually had filet mignon in my boxers at 9:30. Were they pork ribs?
Yeah, they do pork ribs, and they do...
See, I've never had ribs before.
What?
Well, I don't eat pork.
There's beef ribs.
Well, I don't know where to get beef ribs.
I can tell you where to get a beef rib, and it's also another black-owned business here.
Okay, where do I get a beef rib?
So even though it looks yuppie as shit, and it's in Lawrenceville, Walters is actually owned locally by an African-American family, and they do limited per day, but they do have...
Beef ribs,
and they're literally like they're like this. They're huge. They're giant.
That's incredible. Yeah, I've never had ribs before.
Yeah,
just don't do the pork.
Well, that's unfortunate for you.
I mean, I'm doing all right.
You could be better.
I've tried some pork in the past. I'm just not a big fan of it. There's a few other reasons, but
I'm
nothing.
losing respect for you by the moment while you talk about pork.
Wow,
like
this has been devastating from the devil to the Ace of Cups. To the last card that told me stay in my fucking lane. Oh my word! Well, anything you want to tell the people? I know you're not necessarily a stand-up comedian.
I'm not.
But when I think of the comedy community or entertainers in general, because I tend to lump us all together, musicians, whatever, spoken word. So I tend to ask you, where can the people find you? That's what I'm going to go with again, and if that's appropriate, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I am actively on social media a lot. I'm on. I mean, you can find me on Facebook, Sarah Lou.
By the way, pre-quarantine, I will say her fingernails were the best fingernails I've had on my timeline.
Don't talk about them right now.
And I also feel like I have to explain that further. I was raised by a single mother. And I would go with her to the nail salon and help pick out hair designs. So it's something very near and dear to me.
Yeah.
And I always appreciate some good ones.
Yeah, I just, everything's been closed and my poor nails are little nubs again.
Yeah, I'm looking scruffy up here, too. Now, I'm losing hair and it's growing, so it looks wispy, like a field of wheat. I
have a hair appointment next week. I'm very excited about it.
I have been running my mouth to myself for 3 weeks now about, you're going to go home and shave it off. And then I get home.
You just can't part with it?
It's not that I don't want to part with it. It's just like I got so much other stuff to do. I could care less.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Your social media handles.
I'm also on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. Hot Dog Lou. I still have my business page up, but I haven't really done anything with Hot Dog Lou Productions since last summer. That still exists.
What was your intention to start with that?
I mean, I was kind of running the open mic with it, and it was meant to be kind of like An umbrella that kind of encompassed like everything I kind of was involved in.
Prestige Worldwide.
Basically, yeah,
Okay.
boats and hose,
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah.
You can't. I'll wait. Give me a better combination.
But yeah, that's it mostly. I'd say Instagram or Facebook. I'm a little more selective on Facebook of who I add, but Instagram is public to all.
Right on. I
Yeah.
dig it. Folks, like I said, we're growing and learning here. I'm always looking for feedback. I'm always looking for ideas on what you want to hear about. So if you want to drop an email, it's it's inquisitiveminds@gmail.com. That's INQUIZATIVE. Also our Facebook page, facebook.com/Inquisitive Minds. You can find me at facebook.com/Johnny Smith or /TunaCanJohn. Join us next week. We'll be talking with Brittany Alexis as we discuss the Stanford prison experiment. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure.